Hello, and welcome to The Fool and the Philosopher.
The Philosopher and the Fool.
Show. And this really shows how, Laurie is able to go off script and just adapt easily, because the guy was, they were both sitting, and the chair Hugh was in was like way lower than the one that Craig was in while he's doing the interview. He's like, wait a minute, is this some sort of power play? And he's like, yeah, it is. He's like, oh, really? So Hugh stands up and sat on his desk, and he's like, I'm going to do the interview from up here. And then he's like, well, two can play at that game, and so he went and sat on his desk, so they're sitting like this far apart, right close together. That's very intimate. Yeah, should we move? No, let's do this. So they do the whole interview.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know who writes the bit of Fry and Laurie, but
They do.
I don't know which one of them.
They both do.
But there's so many,
It's like early YouTube comedy. Like, a lot of it's just so bizarre.
I'm trying to think of the word. It's, what is the word?
Esoteric.
No, they make a lot of fun of, Nancy's.
Yeah.
Like limp-wristed, well, typically homosexual is the implication, right?
Yeah.
But it's more they're just making fun of, limp-wristedness in general. But it's funny because, Stephen Fry's gay, but
And he was open about it.
Yeah, but he's also, he's a very straight gay. Or, well, that's not the right way to put it. He's not a flamboyant guy in the slightest, right?
There's
he's...
Stephen Fry had an interview with Top Gear. And he's saying, one of the weirdest things that happened to me was walking down the street. And this man walked by and he saw me. It's like, my kids listen to you when they're going to bed. And I realized at that point that throughout all of Britain, hundreds and hundreds of children listen to me whispering into their ears while they're trying to sleep. It's a bit of a weird thought to have. And that's because he did the Harry Potter audiobooks.
Right, yeah.
And so everyone was listening to him around that time.
It's weird watching the Fry and Laurie, because Stephen Fry almost always plays this guy with this ridiculously over-the-top vocabulary who's talking about all these obscure books and music and literature. And he's this really pretentious, very British person. And then Hugh Laurie is always this bumbling... But they're like that in interviews as well. Yeah. They're... I assume most actors are still putting on a show when they're doing an interview. But I don't know if you saw the Stephen Fry and Jordan Peterson interview.
No.
Where they did an interview together. And, anything Jordan Peterson talked about, Stephen Fry was like, oh yeah, I read, that and 3 other related works. And, Stephen Fry has read, every piece of great literature on the planet. And he's this ridiculously smart and educated guy.
Yes.
And then Hugh Laurie is this ridiculously funny slapstick guy.
Yeah.
Which... I feel like it's a crying... House is a crying shame. Maybe House is good. I haven't seen it, but...
It's okay.
But the pictures I see of it where he looks like this grumpy guy, and this is, one of the UK's funniest people with an amazing voice. He's an amazing actor, and you're putting him in this.
Well, he throws people off when he interviews because he doesn't put on the Dr. House when they interview him, especially in America.
Yeah.
Because he's a very chipper, bright, happy guy. Even though, his... aging, even when he's younger, he had a sort of sinister look to him in some ways. But it's this guy versus House, they're completely different human beings.
But I don't know if it's House or it's just how he's aged, but like you're saying, he looks when he was young, he looked like a goofball.
Yeah.
And now he actually looks grumpy and grey and grizzled.
And then you hear him speak.
Yeah, and he's still the same.
And it's like a young boy speaking to you.
But I wonder, it could just be he doesn't want to, shave because he's got to go act the next day.
Well, he's done with House.
But he doesn't look like the...
They actually... So he was in a different show where I only watched the first episode, but the whole idea is it's basically the first cruise ship in space.
Yeah.
And all the crew are paid actors. It's controlled by a computer. And the whole idea is the computer breaks down, the ship goes off course. And he's the captain of the ship. And he's this larger-than-life character on the ship. He's this trained astronaut. He's this homegrown American. And so they're speaking to him, and he freaks out, and he goes into his British accent. And all the Americans are like, ew, what is that? It's I'm a paid actor. I don't know how to fly a ship. And he's speaking his British accent. And so the whole joke is on him breaking his accent, as he's actually British.
We've seen in a bit of Fry and Laurie, the John and Peter sketches, where they're real estate agents.
No, I haven't seen those.
And they're Americans, and they're like, damn, double damn in hellfire. John, yes, Peter. come over here. They're running us out of the business. Damn! That's what I told her. I told her, damn and blast. Damn! They're just trying to be the most over-the-top ridiculous. And they're always pouring themselves drinks. And then they're running around and the drinks are sloshing everywhere. And then they pour themselves... So they pour themselves like 8 drinks. And there's one where they lose their real estate job. So they become janitors for a bathroom. And so, but they're doing the same thing. And they're going around with cups of coffee instead. And every time he finishes a statement, he drinks the coffee and then he crushes the little paper coffee cup and throws it in the thing. And then Stephen Fry one time is full of like hot coffee and he crushes it and it like sprays all over his hand. He's like, ah!
The one thing that really impressed me with Laurie is how perfect he was at hair in Little Grey Rabbit.
I mean, it's just how he acts a lot of the time.
I know, but those are based off a book, and that it's just like the perfect casting because
apparently a lot of Americans know him from 101 Dalmatians and something else. I don't know who he was. Maybe he was... Are the dogs British in 101 Dalmatians?
I think the parents are.
Like
the owners of the dogs.
I don't think so, because there's a... All I really remember from... I haven't seen the whole movie, but I've seen a clip, and the dad sings in one of the clips, and he's got this amazing singing voice.
Is it the cartoon or the live action they know him for?
I don't know, actually. But in the cartoon, like the hand-drawn one, which I think is a bit older than him, so I'm not sure of it. But the dad's got this amazing singing voice, which I don't think... Like, Hugh Laurie's done some singing, but it's not like... Like, Disney got really good singers to do there.
Well, they sometimes switch out singers for
Well, I guess that could be too, yeah.
Although, what's really cool about both Sleeping Beauty and Snow White is those are both rotoscoped. They changed the technology for Sleeping Beauty. It was less rotoscope, but you can really see the rotoscoping in Snow White. And so she's going around acting, doing voice acting. She was an amazing singer. But what's really cool is there's these videos on YouTube which it shows the scene and it shows her next to it. And they built sets for them to act in. Like, they're simple sets, but they're sets. And so you can see her going around and doing the singing. And you can see where the animators change things, where they match them and going around. And there's, I believe they also do that for Sleeping Beauty, a few of those scenes.
So there's a live action version already out there?
Yes.
And, like, the sets... Because I've seen the behind the scenes for the Lord of the Rings films, and they've got, like, a mop bucket for a sword, and, like they're not full-on costumes a lot of the time. I want to talk about these flyers slightly, if that's...
Well, I was actually trying to think of a joke, which is we can talk about the upcoming Canadian election.
Oh, yeah.
Because this will be coming out several months after it's over.
You're not doing the weekly yet?
Not yet.
So we're like a cut. So it'll be like a month after, right? Probably.
Yeah, I'm not certain how I'm going to tackle the fighting fantasy.
Yeah.
I'm also...
Animate it.
I'm actually going to produce AI images for each fight.
Rotoscope.
I have rotoscoped some things.
Rotoscope the entire...
I haven't done rotoscope animations. I've done still frame rotoscoping. So I take a picture of myself with a green screen, and I have props, and I draw over them.
I did that for... I don't know if you saw my Age of Wonders... It was called Bringing a Knife to a Cannon fight, I believe. And it has Gambleg with a cannon shooting Sundrin riding a horse charging at him. Yeah. And so that whole thing, I actually used Photoshop to make a composite image of that happening. Yeah. And then I rotoscoped the whole thing so that it was the same. Yeah. So I drew it, and you have to make a couple decisions on your own, obviously. But
yeah, so that's the thing. So a lot of the time when I do pictures, I like Photoshop it and I draw over them. But I was like, I can't get the right poses. And I realized, sure, I'm like a big meaty guy, but I can take a picture of myself, and I just need that for positioning, and then I can frame everything down. That being said, some of the women I draw have very broad shoulders, because that's a hard thing to scale down a shoulder with.
Warrior women. The I think that rotoscoped Age of Wonders picture is probably the highest effort thumbnail I've ever made. Yeah. It took me ages. And the thumbnail I did for Heroes of Might and Magic, where I took a screenshot of the start of a fight, exploded in popularity. I have like 10 views on the Age of Wonders video. The Heroes of Might and Magic video got like 200 in like a week.
Yeah, so...
maybe more like 180.
So what I do now is, you know how there's that test thing? Yeah. So I'll take a screenshot, I'll take a Photoshop screenshot, and I'll draw a cool piece of art. I throw them all up there. And it makes me sad when the screenshot does the best out of the three.
Yeah. Well, this time, like, the screenshot was a pretty interesting scene
Yeah.
because basically, if you've been watching the series, I'm dominating the AI the whole time.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just crushing them. And then this picture shows me with my huge army, and the AI has an army that's like 10 times the size, and the screen is just me saying like, "Do you want to surrender? Spend like 2 million gold,"
Yeah.
and I'm out of here because suddenly the AI is way stronger than me. So it's you watch that and like, ooh, there's going to be a cool fight to watch, which doesn't happen because I surrender in the first turn. But it's something to look at, I guess. But yeah, I should probably start doing that where I just take like a decent screenshot and see which performs better.
I would say use that feature.
Right. I did it for the Nostalgia for a Time Which Didn't Exist.
Yeah.
I tried it with that one.
Yeah, I'd just say use that feature. I have 2 videos, I haven't gone around to it yet. But they're 2 videos that did okay, and then like the views dropped off, and they get like 5 views every 48 hours or so. So like the views trickle on them. And so I'm going to keep the original thumbnails, but I'm also going to create 2 new test thumbnails and throw them in both videos.
Actually, I don't think I get enough views to get data from those tests because I tried with that Nostalgia one, and they're like inconclusive, and that was probably about 180 views. So I think you need a bit more than that.
Yeah, even not getting enough data. What a little spiff and brick secret here is.
Someone will see it twice and they'll click on...
they'll see it twice. Also, YouTube doesn't... With those multiple thumbnails, YouTube doesn't go, okay, so I usually send out 100 impressions for this person, so I'm going to give 33, 33, 33. I'm going to send out 100 impressions, and each of these impressions is going to be... So they're going to see all 3 different thumbnails.
Right, because you don't know which one works.
Yeah, so you're technically tripling your impressions by doing that.
Yeah, well, not quite as much because if anyone clicks on it, you don't gain that benefit.
Yeah,
but you're getting like a good boost above that.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, it is worthwhile doing because as unfortunate as you can have the best video ever, your thumbnail has to be good too.
Well, it's kind of sometimes like I have my first Heroes of Might and Magic video that was like 200 or 300 hours of editing.
Yeah,
my first Pokemon video was like 100 hours of editing, and then with my job and also the Pokemon video, it ate up my backlog because it took so much time, right? So I've just been trying to, because I do a video a week, and I've been just trying, like, I just got to get this out of here. So sometimes I don't edit as much.
Yeah.
And then the video I barely edit, people are like, oh, this is great, this is awesome. And it's like, hey, you know how much work I put into that first video?
Yeah, I try to do a video every 2 weeks. That's not happening for the video I'm working on right now because the mod is just too big.
Yeah, well, your modded videos are much, like, I mean, besides that first Heroes video where I did all the sound effects, I edited the things moving on the screen. Like you saw that where I edited the hero moving on the screen.
Yeah.
Where I edit like frame by frame a 2-hour video multiple times because I did like 3 passes frame by frame.
Yeah.
So it took me ages, and then like the Pokemon. But beyond that, it's Let's Play, right? So it's not like it takes that long in a sense to do. But there's still. Especially with my Age of Wonders videos, they're hard to edit because my camera, my microphone, I'm annoyed at this. I have a ridiculous backlog, right?
Yeah.
So my microphone, which I fixed about a month or 2 in.
When I told you.
Yeah, when you told me.
Yeah.
Is still scuppered because I'm a year behind in my uploads right now. And it's going to get worse as time goes on.
Yeah.
And that means that, like, my Pokemon videos, my roguelike videos, and my Heroes of Might and Magic videos, it's like, oh, this is nice, you're listening to it. And then you go to the Age of Wonders, and it's like, and I have to keep editing every little thing just to try to make it not sound horrible.
Yes. It's a cool mod, Minecraft mod, I think you'd like it. It's called Goatee.
Goatee?
Yeah.
Like a goat?
Kind of, yeah. And it's basically, if you took Witchery, not Bewitchment, Witchery, and Thongcraft, and they had an evil baby.
Ooh. That sounds neat.
And so it's necromancy, lichdom, doing the dark arts. It has a lot of stuff involved with Illager, so you're stealing Illager magic to do your own magic. And
that sounds kind of cool.
And the bloody setup, I haven't even recorded the video yet. And I know it's going to be a very long recording. But the setup for it, I'm still not done. And so first I did my research, and that took me probably 10 hours of like figuring out the mod.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm setting it up. And I think I'm another 10 hours in of just setting it up. And I think I have another 5 or 10 hours to go. Then I have to record it. That recording's probably going to be a 4 to 5 hour long recording.
Jeez.
And then hopefully I'll be able to cut it down to below 2 hours.
Wow, that's because you do quick videos. That's a big mod.
I mean, you say I do quick videos. My videos are like 40 minutes.
No, I mean your mod videos. Oh, are you doing like a playthrough with it?
This is a how-to.
Because your how-to videos tend to be very condensed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my how-to videos, I record them, and then they usually half in length after I'm done recording.
Wow, but 2 hours still.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, the one video, I'm sad I don't think I'll ever be able to do it again. And the video hasn't actually gotten that many views. I should redo his thumbnail. Was the storage mod where you have to find the asteroid and like grow the gems and all that.
Oh yeah.
So I knew that was going to be a lot of work. I knew the mod was going to be very complicated. And so I rehearsed it 5 times. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do this in one take. And I did the recording. And I did it fast because I wanted to be done with it. And then I edited it. And in the editing, I only cut about 10 minutes because I did it so well. And one of the comments I got is, you went too fast, I don't understand anything.
They can use the pause button. But that is something actually I've noticed. My first couple Heroes of Might and Magic and Age of Wonders videos, non-stop talking.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just talking the whole video. And actually, my second Heroes of Might and Magic video, I don't know if you saw, I'm talking for 15 minutes after the video ends. Because I ran out of room. But what I noticed watching them back after taking a bit of a step back, I was like, whoa, this is overwhelming. You actually need a couple moments because when I pause in the video and I'm not talking, that's because I'm trying to comprehend what's on the screen. Yeah. But the viewer is also trying to comprehend what's on the screen.
Yes.
So it's not just, I need to be constantly filling the space for them because they are also trying to make their own conclusions. And I mean, depending on the person. Yeah.
One of the best comments I got on my Ars Nouveau video is someone said, "This was a great video, very informative. Thanks for going through the whole mod. I now know I do not want to touch this."
Now you got to do Aurora Cascade.
Never.
It's not that bad if you have a lot of other mods you can use to ignore most of it.
Well, so that's one of the things. So one of the problems I face is I'm doing a how-to.
Yeah.
And I'm not just going to... With my how-tos, I structure them so that... Like, I don't do a lot of editing because I structure my videos so they can actually have less editing. But I look at a mod, it's like, right, so this mod, we don't have any other mods. We're just playing vanilla Minecraft with this mod. We don't have anything else.
Yeah.
So if you're using just this mod, how can you get from point A to point B? What's the best order from using these mod tools? And I came across this problem, is there's 2 bosses in GOTY, which are really, really powerful. Mm-hmm. If you have other mods, you can beat them quite easily, because there's some OP mods. With just GOTY items, they're actually kind of hard to beat. So, I looked at them. So, one of them is called the Vizier, and he's an Invoker boss. So there's something about Illagers. Every Illager has the same weakness, which is if they walk into a boat, they get trapped in it. The Vizier is a cloned Invoker, and so even though he's a boss,
you can get him in a boat.
You can put him in a boat. And so that's not the end of it, but you can put him in a boat. Now he summons a whole bunch of those little spirits.
Yeah.
Now those spirits...
The Vexes.
Yeah, Vexes deal a lot of damage, but they have no hit points. So you get high armor with thorns on it. It shreds them. You don't have to concern yourself with them. So also you summon this boss, and he flies around. He doesn't walk on the ground. So what you have to do is you set up trapdoors. You put a boat on top of the trapdoors. Then you summon him. Whenever you summon him, he'll summon above your head. So he'll get summoned onto the boat and get trapped. Now, the platform you fight on is also trapdoors that are offset. And this is because he has 2 abilities. One is he summons those teeth under the ground. They seek you. They cannot be summoned on trapdoors. His other ability is he sends out an upgrade version of them in a line. Offset trapdoors, those also can't be summoned on.
It's like
you build a barrier around... Yeah, you build a barrier around him because he summons these ghosts that throw swords at you. If the barrier's around you, they can no longer hit you. So that's the one boss. The other boss I came across is this boss. He's called the Apostate, and he's absurdly powerful. He's got a bow. He shoots arrows at you. He summons tons of magic. He teleports everywhere. So my first thought is one of the reasons he's so hard to fight is he teleports and he's ranged. So we have to get rid of his teleportation ability. So I went into Superplot and using a builder wall, and I built this giant pillar of dirt. And I put a hole in it, and I went in there to fight him. And his behavior is if you hit him too many times, he teleports to reposition. If he doesn't have anywhere to teleport to, though, he'll just keep fighting you. So that's the first thing I came across. But there's still some problems. So I was trying to think of ways to, like, break his AI or, like, subject it, which is basically, if you're in half slabs, a lot of ground summons can't hit you. If you trapdoor yourself so you're crawling, and then you're in a hole, it makes range attacks very hard to hit you, so you can basically have him trapped in an area and hit him. And I figured out how to beat him, and it's really dumb. he has no melee attacks.
Hmm.
And his hurt box is the same size as your player. Sorry, his hitbox is the same size as your hitbox.
So you stand inside him?
So what you do is you go into the nether. This is counterintuitive because he's more powerful in the nether. He gets buffs. So you go into the nether and you dig a hole to bedrock. And the nether has a lot less caves deeper down than the overworld. So he has nowhere to teleport to. Then, yes, you stand inside him with a 1x2 space, so there's not even a ceiling. So you have to seal it down behind you the whole way you go down. He has a very complicated summoning ritual. But because of the mod, you can actually have the summoning ritual just embedded in walls and still do it. So I figured out, over multiple tests, this took me 4 hours to figure out, is you still have to have good gear. You have to have golden apples to give you that health and damage resist. But if you stand inside him, his arrows cannot hit you because his range shots will hit walls. And his spells will also hit him and they'll hit the thorns in your armor. And so basically you have to stand inside him and have it trapped so none of his teleporting can happen, none of his flinging around spells happen, none of his summons can get to you because they're going to get summoned in walls and killed. And you basically just stand there and hit him. And so it does ruin epic boss fights. But it's like, oh, this boss is easy to beat. No. If you're not using other mods, he is one of the hardest fights I've ever done in Minecraft just using vanilla items.
Yeah, there's...
And so it's my how-to, I realized with these two bosses, because they're both important to beat, especially the boss state, is people are going to go, oh, this is great and all, but how do you beat this boss? This is why I wanted to watch this video. So I have to beat the bosses.
Well, you download... what's it called? The one with the giant forge.
Tinker's Construct?
Yeah, you download Tinker's Construct.
No, it's not good enough.
No? You download Gaia. What's the Gaia boss from? Is that from Britannia?
Yeah. No.
Britannia doesn't give you good items, though.
No, you download Equivalent Exchange.
Yeah.
And get the redstone or blackstone armor.
Yeah.
Or you install the Visages mod, which is called the Visages of Prestige. And they're ridiculously hard to get items, but basically if you're not playing hardcore, if you get them, you can basically become unkillable.
When Equivalent Exchange first came out, and Industry Craft or whatever it was called, like the Tekkit, right? Yeah. Like the first mod pack was Tekkit, basically. And it seemed decently balanced.
Yeah, they hard balanced it in that mod pack.
And I think as well part of it was that it was a lot harder to get resources back then for whatever reason. I don't like...
They're rare, there's less digging.
That giant quarry, like when we played Tekkit, what we did was we said we want to start with a quarry just for fun.
Yeah.
And that didn't give us unlimited resources.
No.
I had to build one of those bone meal machines that doubles your bone meal and then goes into the Equivalent Exchange machine. And that barely... It took me ages to get one of those power flowers going. And the power flower was a very slow trickle.
Yeah, no, mods used to be harder to start. Resources were more scarce. But there is a power creep in Minecraft modding, which is kind of funny, which mods are more and more powerful.
Like, I think even Terra Firma Craft is, you get some really strong items in that.
Yeah. And it's always a problem when you have a mod pack where you're really interested in one mod and it's you're playing multiplayer on a server with slightly PvP. It's like, I want to focus in on this mod. And then some guy's like, yeah, I've got the unkillable item of unkillableness.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you can't kill me. And it's like, yeah, that's because you went and got the unkillable. The one I hate the most, it's from a mod called...
Remember when I danced around and said, I'm a pretty pink princess over and over again so I could get the sword that could kill you in creative mode?
Yeah.
And it still couldn't go through your armor.
Mithril armor was OP.
No, it was the red armor from... It was the red matter armor from...
Oh, yeah, red matter, yeah. Yeah, so, that sword
Exchange
wouldn't work on a different item from... it's called Enigmatic Legacy. And it has an item which is a cube. And what this cube does is it makes it so effects don't affect you. And so the /kill is actually effect in Minecraft, so you can't /kill someone with this cube.
Yeah.
It makes it so you have a max amount of damage you can take. It reduces damage. It basically makes you invincible, except versus this one sword item in from a different mod pack. Sorry, from this mod pack, which is this sword is how you kill someone with this cube. And so if you have this mod in your mod pack and people try to get, these cubes took me 20 hours to get. They're so hard to get. It's like, yeah, but you're an obsessive-compulsive grinder. If it's in this pack, you're going to get this cube.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you can't be interacted with because how you interact with people is with effects. That being said, There's a different mod, which is Mahotosuke, I'm mispronouncing it, which has a system called Kubato, which sort of goes, if you have any mod where you're like, haha, I'm invincible, what Kubato does is think about the absolute worst effects of Witchery's pulpit.
Yeah.
So, Kubiko is an exponential scale of the higher charges you have when you curse someone with it, the worse it becomes. Once you get past 1,000, basically imagine that happening to you forever. The effects of the... So you'll drop items will be destroying your inventory, you'll constantly be taking damage, you'll be flung about randomly. And the person was aware that other people like to make OP items in their mod packs, which is because this mod itself has OP items, but it's like, oh, this mod makes me immune to all effects in Minecraft. So Kubiko is programmed to not be an effect. It is an entirely new coded event, which only if you made your mod specifically to interact with Mahotosuke could you make yourself immune to it. And it is just awful, but that's the sort of thing I like in coding, where this person's like, yeah, there's OP things in my mods, there's OP things in other mods, so let's break them.
I'm not a fan of, like, you know, like, I like Better Than Wolves and Terraformacraft and whatnot. Like, I like a bit more grounded mods typically. But, and this one wasn't, this was the same idea though, where the developer did something very different. Do you remember it wasn't the Skyships mod, it was the Many Worlds mod, I think it was called, which allowed you to load multiple worlds into Minecraft in the same instance at the same time. Like, that was... I don't know if it's still going or not, because I don't think anyone's been able to do that since. Like, that guy was some sort of genius on a different...
No, I've noticed a thing, like, a lot of modern mods don't have the same levels of creativity as older mods do. Like, they don't explore them as much. But every once in a while you do come across a mod which is like, oh, this is very cool. The thing with Goatee is you can see all inspirations. Like, it wears them on its sleeve. It's letting you know what its inspirations are.
Because the first mods, they weren't like... We're going to add a new sword that does +1 damage. It was like Clay Soldiers, Gulliver's Travels.
So I'm actually, I have a video planned, I'm still writing it, which is, it's the 5 pillars of Minecraft magic. And it's basically taking, so it's Witchery, Thaumcraft, Botania.
Astral Sorcery or whatever it's called?
No. Let's see, Witchery, Botania.
Psycraft?
No, Thaumcraft,
Ars Magica.
Ars Magica, and
Aurora Cascade.
No, Equivalent Exchange.
Equivalent Exchange.
And Blood Magic's going to get an honorable mention. But Blood Magic's actually based on Equivalent Exchange, so that's why I'm saying Equivalent Exchange is dead. And if you look at those 5 mods, and you look at all modern Magic mods, in one way or another, they are based on or inspired by those mods. Like, they haven't deviated from them. There's not really a new Magic.
Yeah. What was, what's that one called where you have to turn the trees gold and then get, like, the back scratcher that like, cuts the... That's based on Equivalent Exchange as well, but that's...
Nature's Aura.
No, a different one. Anyways.
Nature's Aura, you also turn trees golden.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah, and so they all come from that...
What about Technobob's Wizardry or whatever? Or Electrobob's, sorry.
Electrobob's is a mix of Thaumcraft and Ars Magica.
But it was before Ars Magica, at least, I think. Like... It was the first Magic mod, I believe.
Okay, Electrobob's is old, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just has set spells.
Yeah. And,
honestly, I could throw that in there and add a 6th pillar.
Thaumcraft is interesting because it has changed a lot from, like, Thaumcraft 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But one of the fun things that I get to do with this video is I get to say that they're inspired by Terry Pratchett, because both Thaumcraft and Witchery are inspired a lot by Terry Pratchett in Discworld.
Yeah. Do you remember... I think Thaumcraft 1, like, it wasn't as well made, right? But it did some stuff that, like, the windows, you could put a window on anything, and then you could stare into a different portion of the map through the window. And you could, like, you could add effects to the window, so you could be like this wizard peering in on a different part of the map. Yeah. Then you could add snow, and it'd be like snowing over there. And...
Yeah, well, there are things like this. One of the reasons why I really want to show off Witchery is I've shown off a lot of its, like, spiritual successors. None of them have ever come close to it.
Yeah, Witchery is...
Like, one of my favorite things in Witchery is if you have a tag lock of someone, you can put it into your crystal orb, and then you can get an eagle-eyed view of them, and you can spy on someone.
Yeah, from this totally different perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, Witchery was a very different sort of mod. And Thaumcraft as well when it came out, obviously. But, and Botania is, like, probably the most balanced Magic mod.
Botania is... So, if the person who made Botania, they make a bunch of mods. They made PSI. And
PSI is not balanced.
And they made Quark.
Yeah, they made Quark. Yeah, Vezinor?
Yeah.
They're Brazilian, I think.
Yeah, they make a lot of really cool mods. And one of the things...
yeah, Quark is probably the mod I put in every mod pack.
So one of the things that they say about Botania is this mod is not meant to be strong because their design philosophy for mods is just playing with them. This you just want to do something, you want to have fun with it. It's not meant to get strong because that's, I think, one of the problems with a lot of mods, like modern mods, is people are making them to make themselves strong, get special ability to make them powerful. Where older mods, or non-magic mods even, like the tech mods, are based around building stuff.
Would you, in your 5 pillars video, or 6 or whatever it ends up being, consider...
Well, it's going to be an overview video and then going to focus on each mod individually.
The 8th are probably not, but what about Twilight Forest?
That Twilight Forest is also getting an honorable mention.
Because it's not really a magic mod, but it has some stuff, right?
Yeah. No, the Twilight Forest is getting an honorable mention as well. So basically the idea is it's going to be an overview video talking about all the mods, and then each of the pillars is going to get its own individual video.
My main problem with Twilight Force, I think, is it's really, really ugly.
Yeah.
Like
and its code is still spaghetti. If you're playing, you actually cannot play with it multiplayer on a server. Because if someone's inside it and someone isn't, it will destroy your game.
Oh, what about the Doors mod?
The Dimension mod? No. The one thing I'm considering is the magic... I'm going to also mention the magic wands. Because that was actually some of the first mods. That was like one of the first mods was the magic wands mod.
It's funny because
But this is more about like these... All mods have their roots attached to these pillars, like one way or another.
There's some... Because there wasn't many mods when it started, right? But they were... For some reason, they were all super creative.
Yes.
Like the Nexus mod.
Yeah.
Where it was like, it turned the game into a tower defense.
Yeah.
And different, zombies...
Yeah, I made a video on that.
Zombies could build bridges, and yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, that mod's okay. I played around with it.
And now there's not even zombies. They got rid of them. Now there's piglins and stuff. And...
There's zombified piglins.
Yeah, but they're not the...
Pigmen.
But they've added ears to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to just be zombies, right? They were just...
There's zombies in the overworld still.
Yeah. Well, sorry, but the zombie pigmen.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't piglins. They were zombie pigmen. They were pigs. And not piglins.
No, there's zombified piglins and there's still pigmen.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is that... Because they are neutral in the nether.
Yep.
But not in the overworld? Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the zombie pigmen are neutral in the overworld as well.
There was also... What I want to do... I might, destroy my computer doing this. But it's on a related note to your witchery video, I think. I want to install a completely separate Heroes of Might and Magic install folder on my computer.
Yeah.
Put WOG 3.58 on it. Or 3.59F, whatever it was called. Put Segamosa on it. And then have a dedicated... That's all it is. It's just a dedicated Segamosa thing. Yeah. Because you cannot put Segamosa on modern Heroes of Might and Magic, right? At all. And I think it might even be difficult now to find... I don't know where to get WOG anymore, so that'll be difficult on its own to try to install it. Because, I if you want to play Witchery, you're going to have to roll back to,
Luckily, all those are held onto.
1.7? 1.2?
Sorry.
I think
1.8.
I think 1.7.10 it was working.
It's 1.8.
That's the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 1.7 was a
good deal.
That was the best iteration, I think, in terms of
creativity.
All the mods that were alive back then and where the game was at. I think that was kind of the best period. 12...
I've been on 12. I really like 12.
1.12 was pretty good too.
16's interesting because it's got the more modern stuff. I'm now using the 1.20.1.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think I'm on 1.12 and 1.7 right now. Would you be interested? All right. I give you, I think I called it, what did I call it? Enviromine. So it has Enviromine. It has Terraform. So that's the one where darkness kills you, where there's poisonous gas pockets, where coal can catch fire if it's near a torch, where torches burn out, where there's less air the deeper you go in the earth. It has those earthquakes that tear them out. Then Terraformacraft, the one that adds the dragons and you have to forge from flint to tools. Yeah. And then it also has Better with Wolves. And so it's a great mod pack.
I would take that mod pack and throw it at those dweebs who play my servers to see how well they do.
Just give you that so you can do a little video. You can do one of your Isekai videos where you're like, wee, I'm in Minecraft. And everything's horrible.
No, what I do is people play RLcraft. RLcraft's super hard. And it's like, I played RLcraft. No, RLcraft's not hard, it's stupid. You know that I want to be the guy Gaiden?
Yeah.
That's what RLcraft is. That's not hard, that's stupid.
It's one of those things where you just don't know what's going to happen and then it gets you.
Yes.
Yeah. That's kind of funny.
That's funny. It can be amusing, but that isn't hard. I don't call that difficulty.
Hard. Yeah.
That's shock value.
Yeah, once you figure it out, then it... Yeah, hard is something like a game of chess where you have all the information and yet you still don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or Go or something like that.
Or Dark Souls.
Yeah. Well, Dark Souls is interesting because it's sort of... Once you solve parts of it, then it becomes a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of it isn't that hard to do. So Dark Souls might actually be closer to the I want to be the guy in some ways.
Yeah.
Not entirely, because you still have to be good at timing and everything.
Yeah.
But you sort of overcome it by... Like, there is certain...
But I think one of the things about... I always talk about this with any mod I review or look at now, and this is one of the reasons I really don't like RLcraft, is Minecraft is designed, at least earlier version, I don't know about later Minecraft, but basically until the Warden. Like, the Warden, I kind of disagree, like they get rid of the design philosophy, but Minecraft is designed so you can always succeed if you know what you're doing. If you play the game by the rules... you can succeed. So there is no mob in Minecraft that breaks blocks except for the creeper, the ghast, and the wither. Now the rule with the creeper is that it breaks blocks only if it's next to you and it explodes. It never breaks blocks otherwise.
Yeah.
It only breaks blocks if it's your own fault. So the ghast is it can be deflected.
Yeah.
If you are good enough, you can always avoid the ghast breaking blocks. Also, you have to choose to go to the nether to encounter the ghast. So the ghasts are a choice. The wither, you choose to summon. A wither will never show up in your world and ruin it. You have to choose to put in your world. So if there's a mod that adds a creature to the game that hunts you and destroys blocks and you don't choose to summon it, that's bad Minecraft design in my books.
What do you think of, what's it called? The Smarter AI mod? Or, you know, that one that makes zombies homing on you and dig towards you? And...
Even those I dislike to an extent. I played with one, as I talked about. It's like, those can be interesting for a bit. But if you have that, there has to be rules where those zombies can be beaten absolutely.
What I end up doing...
like, everything in Minecraft, there is an absolute solution, and it's easily doable in the early game. And that is one of the rules of Minecraft is, it's not a game about skill. It is a game about preparation, knowledge, and playing it right. Like, Minecraft, if you play hardcore, if you do it right, if you're not distracted, you can actually beat the game. And you can beat it without skill. You beat it with reflex skill. You can just beat it with, this is what I do here, this is what I do here. I can avoid creepers like this. I can dig underground, get my resources without getting shot.
I think even then, like, Minecraft is... Like, winning the game is almost contrary to the nature of the game.
And that's one of the problems with the group of people that we play on servers, is they don't build buildings, they don't build things up. They get to the end game, and then they do their building, and then they bored and they stop playing. And it's like, oh, add more mods to it. And it's like, you don't get to the end of the mod. You play the game.
It's actually one of my biggest complaints probably with Mr. Samuel Streamer when he plays RimWorld, right? He will put all his characters on research and get all the research done.
Yeah.
And then he'll start building stuff. It's like, what's the point of having the research at all, right? You might as well just start with the research unlocked, because the point of having the research and the gameplay at the same time is that you get to the thing and I can upgrade my base now and this all works. And what he also does, because research takes so long, he puts research speed to very fast so that it's faster so he gets through it. And it's like, wait, but you're supposed to be simultaneously, you're struggling, so you try to research a better form of electricity so that you're struggling less, but you have to dedicate that time that they should be working in the fields to research.
I don't have time to research. Glass is the only guy who's smart enough to research, and his job is putting people back together because everyone's constantly dying.
Yeah, exactly. And when he plays these, he occasionally makes these really hard mod packs, and then he'll say, like, I'm having the most fun I've had ever, and like everything's on fire, everyone's having mental breakdowns, and he's like, wow, this is so great. But that's like a normal experience of RimWorld, right? That's not, but he's not used to it because he tends to play this more fast research, laid back, and he focuses on story. But I think the best stories comes from you not trying to tell a story, but from you playing the story. Because the story emerged from the difficulty.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think RimWorld has done this too, actually, though. When I first played, and I think part of the problem is just player experience. You just don't make the same mistakes. But when I first played RimWorld, having a colony of 3 people, I like, the smallest loss in happiness was a huge deal. Like, I would actually have to, you know, the meme from RimWorld is that they ate without a table, right?
Yeah.
That's like a -3 penalty.
Yeah.
If you're a decent player, you won't, nowadays at least, you won't notice it.
Like, it barely affects your pawns. They'll have this little slight unhappiness, but it's not going to make them have a mental breakdown. But I remember when I first started playing RimWorld, if I didn't have a table, I was struggling to do anything because my pawns were having breakdowns all the time.
I think there's a lot more now to make pawns happy, like even having nice environments.
Yeah, I think...
And following their ideology.
Yeah, I think it's, like, easier to keep... Yeah, I think you're right. It's easier to keep them happy.
There's just more things to have them be happy. And there's not many additional things to make them unhappy.
Because I remember it was this huge deal. You kill a raider,
yeah,
and then you have this corpse, and you're like, okay, I need to get rid of this corpse. But if I send anyone to do it, they're going to get a -20 mood. Yeah. And so they're going to go into this horrible depression spiral. So I have to choose my happiest person to go get the corpse. But nowadays, it's like, well, they only see it for a couple seconds, so who cares, right?
That's why, like, the character talking about Glass is so memorable to me. Is Glass was my psychopath doctor, and he was a really good fighter. Like, he's one of those, like, perfect pawns that you get by chance. And so it's like, okay, Glass, go bury those corpses. And Glass wouldn't care. But, of course, if Glass is burying corpses, he can't be saving lives, he can't be researching. And Glass also was very funny because he hated luxury. That was one of his traits. So he liked living in simple places. His wife was jealous. And his wife was very important in my colony because she's my main farmer. And she was constantly depressed because she had to live with Glass. And it's this hilarious, it's like this sort of comedy of there's this psychopath doctor fighter living with this overly emotional, jealous woman who doesn't want to be in the house with him because Glass is, like, I need to keep Glass happy. He's very easy cave happy. He has to be in a tiny house with a very small bed. And I care way more about him than his wife.
And I feel like when I play a lot of RimWorld now, it doesn't... I barely look at their traits. It's like, who cares if they're jealous or if they're... Yeah. Like, psychopath is still kind of... But it's like, yeah, whatever, psychopath. They don't feel as impactful in some way. And I wonder... I think this happens where... I think mods are partly the problem. You get too much... I've been playing a bit of Slay the Spire with no mods recently, and they're like, oh yeah, right, there's a very simplistic, really good core here.
Yeah.
And mods... This is fascinating, actually. So someone was talking about modding, and they're also talking about like, there's so many games out there, you're buying all these games, you get this huge backlog of games you want to play, right? And they're saying, okay, so most people have played Slay the Spire, most people like Slay the Spire, it's an amazing game. And most people that do this are gamers, obviously, because you're playing a game. But what's the key lesson Slay the Spire taught us? Adding a good card to a good deck makes the good deck worse.
Yeah.
That is true for everything in life. So... adding a good mod to a good game does not make the game better. Like, it can, but it's the same with the deck, right? If you get the right mod, if you get the right card to your good deck, it'll make your deck way better. But just because it's a good mod or a good card does not mean it'll make it better.
Yeah, that's one of the things I do in my Let's Plays and my reviews, is once I'm done with it, I look back on it and it's like, alright, so is this mod a good Minecraft mod? Because it's a good mod, but is it a good Minecraft mod? Or... is it a good fantasy RPG mod? Because there is a game to Minecraft. There's a story to Minecraft. It's like, does this fit the story of Minecraft? Does this fit the game field of Minecraft? And it's like, yeah, I really like this mod. I'll never play with it. That's sometimes a lot of things I say. It's like, this is a very well made mod. It's very cool. Doesn't fit Minecraft whatsoever. I'll never play with it again.
And it's not just Minecraft. Sometimes it's your Minecraft, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you put, what's one of my favorite mods? What's it called? It's that one where you get the drill that can, like, drill a 3x3. It's like simple engineering or something.
Immersive engineering.
Yeah. No, not immersive engineering. It's like the simplified version of immersive engineering. It's the one that you get, like, the liquefied, like, red stuff and you shoot the lasers.
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember its name at the moment.
Yeah, but that mod, fantastic mod. Feels great to play. It's kind of like immersive engineering, but you don't break your brain trying to build the machines. It's like... it's like if immersive engineering is 2nd edition D&D, it's like 5th edition. It's streamlined everything, it's beautiful, it's clean, it's easy to use, and I've stopped playing with it because it's way stronger than any other mod I put it with. It's like, oh, I'm going to do Tinker's Construct, I'm going to do Battalion, or I could just grab like 5 iron and make this drill.
Well, I messed up. I tried to make a mod pack based around immersive engineering, which is, I wanted to have immersive engineering in it because I love immersive engineering. And my goal was, immersive engineering will be the strongest mod in this pack. Yeah. Unfortunately, it wasn't. There's other mods that are stronger. I messed up. But it's that sort of thing of, like, if I make a mod pack to play online with other people, because this is one of the things is, if I play online, the people I play with, like, who are on the online communities I play with, they optimize the fun out games. Yeah. But that's just the nature of these people. And so... you basically have to give them mods that make it so the optimizing this mod is actually quite hard.
Yeah.
Like immersive engineering is actually hard to optimize. And so they kept asking me, like, can we have create in this mod pack?
Yeah.
I was like, no, if I add create, you won't touch immersive engineering because create is easier and better than immersive engineering. Create's really cool,
Yeah.
but you guys all build the exact same machines. You saw the one tutorial on how to do. It gets you all the resources you want. You're not going to use immersive engineering.
Yeah. And that's actually...
And that's like, they ask for a magic mod, they ask for a different thing. It's like, no, if I give you this magic mod, that's all you're going to do. You're going to do nothing else but this.
I bring it up jokingly a lot, like Aurora Cascade. That is actually its design philosophy, is that you cannot optimize the fun out of it.
Yeah.
Because it is so hard to optimize that
Yeah.
you can't do it. And it does actually do stuff, like the only device I've used from it, because I made a mod pack, it was Astral Sorcery, Britannia, Aurora Cascade, Better Than Wolves, and my favorite mod, which is very overpowered in some senses, in other ways it's not, which is, what's it called? It's called Constructible Teleporters, I think.
Yeah.
So you build teleporters by using mossy stone, and cobblestone.
Waystones?
Might be called waystone, but you like build them, like, so each one is unique. Like,
Oh, no, it's not Waystones, it's different.
you know the one though, like you build like these weird dendric structures,
Yeah.
and then you hit them and you hope you don't end up in a wall.
Yeah.
And then you like tweak them, and I think it's really cool because you become a sort of magical scientist who calculates distances with these things, and it's very hard to get right. But when you get it right, you're like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
And so it had all those mods in it, and what I learned from that, because I was like, is that Better Than Wolves is actually probably easier than like Britannia is worse than base game. I think like Britannia does not give you a boost in the slightest.
It gives you some boosts, but they're very hard to find.
Like, yeah, you have to really know what you're doing, and it's very hard to make anything.
And the other thing is Britannia is very good at combining with other mods.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think what I did, the one thing I was using Britannia for, because Better Than Wolves makes the durability of your weapons like 0, basically, right? But Britannia, it can fix your items using mana.
Yeah.
So your items become essentially unbreakable as long as you have enough mana. So that's one thing that Britannia does, but it worked really well with that.
Mm.
Astral Sorcery, way stronger than all the others, even though in most mod packs it's fairly weak.
Astral Sorcery is very powerful if you know what you're doing with it.
But the other thing that's
But
interesting...
yeah, the problem with Astral Sorcery is there's other mods which are better than it faster.
Yeah, in mine there wasn't, so that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But the hard part, which is interesting though, when you're playing with Better Than Wolves and like Britannia as your main mods, basically, right?
Yeah.
A huge component of Astral Sorcery is you have to find the right locations on Earth that the stars are right.
Yeah.
You have to be up high, and you also have to have these specific like key line types of locations. And it's very hard to get around if it's very dangerous to walk around if you're playing Better Than Wolves or something. So that was interesting. But then Aurora Cascade, it has this one item. It's a furnace that uses like twice as much coal as a normal furnace, I think.
Yeah.
But you can throw all your stuff on the ground and it'll cook it all simultaneously.
Yeah.
And so I was using that because time was of the essence for a lot of stuff I was doing. So that it does have its place, and it is kind of an interesting...
Then you have to get the green with the blue and the...
Well, that's if you want to start automating things, right? But what I did is I just chuck my stuff on the ground, and then I'd come back later and pick it up.
Yeah, it's... No, there are some mods which are just too strong in some sense.
Yeah.
And...
Or if you put them in your mod pack, you have to build the mod pack around it.
Yes.
Like, even Tinker's Construct, I think. Like, I used to put it in every single mod pack.
Yeah.
It's super fun. It's super interesting. But it becomes the mod you play
Yes.
with if you have it in there.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, I really like Tinker's Construct. It's fun to play with.
Yeah.
Although the latest versions of it aren't that good. Because they're redesigning the whole thing.
But if you have Tinker's Construct, there's no point in having Britannia, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of Mana Steel if you can get, like, Cobalt or something
Yeah.
from Tinker's Construct, right? So, like, Mana Steel is so much more work and it's worse. So it's
Yeah.
like, who cares?
Well, it's that's another thing is, like, how compatible are these mods with other mods? Like, how much combining you can do. Because there's some very fun combinations. So, there's a mod called Corell's Tombstones, which is a respawn mod.
Yeah.
It has a magic item in it, which is the ink. If you level up enough in the good tree of the ink, any creature you could target with the ink that is tameable, you can tame instantly. So, there's a tag for, in Fire and Ice, dragons are technically tameable creatures. However, to tame a dragon in Fire and Ice, you have to kill a dragon, get its eggs, hatch them yourselves, then feed them and slowly grow them over time. With Krell's Tombstone Ink, you can target a tier 6 dragon with the ink, instantly tame it, and also tame creatures with that ink are more powerful than normal animals.
Yeah, so it doesn't work for those mods, basically.
Or it works really well with them.
I think it was one of the coolest experiences. I think my favorite mod pack we ever played together was probably the Terra Firma Craft one.
Oh, it wasn't the one with the trolls that burrowed through walls. It ruined my day. And when we updated the mod pack, the whole world turned into wooden slabs and staircases.
No, the wooden slabs and staircases was the one before. That was the sequel to that one.
And the spider.
Yeah, no, the one with the spider. So that one was super fun.
Yeah.
But I really liked Terra Firma Craft because Terra Firma Craft used to be combined with Fire and Ice back then, I believe. And so you'd go off wandering and you'd find like a fairy cave and you'd catch fairies in a bottle. And then I was digging underground and I came into a black dragon lair and there was like gold heaping up on the ground and there was...
Yeah.
And I could hear it but I couldn't see it and I was sneaking around trying to grab the treasure and going around. And no, I actually played a lot of that on my own because you didn't like the crafting system so much. You'd get me to make all your stuff for you.
No, I really like the one with the giant spider. That was 1.8.
Yeah, the one with the giant spider as well was...
Because we went through the Lilith challenge to get the vampirism. I cursed you to become a werewolf. We had the mithril armor in that one.
I think, like, that was...
And we griefed each other in ways that people don't normally grief each other. Like, I had a massive bewitchment setup, which I put... witchery set, which I put a lot of work into. And then using Botania, you levitated my whole setup into the sky and gave me a sky island.
Yeah.
And that was your troll.
And then we couldn't get up to it, so we had to plant a giant tree, I believe, beneath it.
We planted a Twilight Forest tree under it, and it grew through the whole thing and ruined a whole bunch of my setup. And then the power in my altar went through the roof because it counted all of the giant tree blocks for power, and so I had insane levels of power we couldn't match after that. And I fixed my whole base. And then I just started cursing you with everything under the sun. Like, you had hallucinations, you would sink underwater, you'd combust in starlight.
And Romney played on that one, too.
He played occasionally.
Yeah.
And then I remember I would really play around with the voodoo puppet. And you eventually made a protection puppet. And so I was trying to play around, and I kept getting struck by lightning.
I actually really liked the one before that one as well. That was the Wizardcraft one.
Yeah.
Because that was called Wizard's Return, that one.
Yeah.
But the Wizardcraft one, I was the one doing witchery. Because this was the first time we played with witchery.
Yeah.
And I built a secret base where you had to run across a hidden rune that would let you run on water.
Yeah.
And then you could run across water to my secret overgrown base where I had this whole witchery setup that was hidden from view. And I had a crystal ball for spying on...
Yeah, and you gave me a Thorncraft wand which made blocks invincible.
Oh, yeah.
And I was slowly building my dwarven cave to be indestructible.
Yeah,
I had a giant dwarven face, and I build this quite often as a face pouring lava.
And I think in some ways that was my favorite world we constructed, but sadly the whole thing got corrupted.
Yeah.
Because 1.7 to 1.8, they updated all the block IDs, and it broke, everything.
Yeah, it turned the world into staircase.
I think I have a backup, so we could roll back and play it on 1.7, but we wanted to try to update.
Wizard's Return was the one where all the mobs went everywhere, and you lived underground, and I lived in a tower.
Yeah, and then both our bases got struck by... those giant meteors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although yours, you didn't even notice yours getting struck because I built all these nerd poles everywhere so I could hang glide.
Well, no, so you built those nerd poles, and then we realized as a defense, so I had a lightning rod on top of my base, but it was a meteorite lightning rod.
Yeah.
So I had this giant tower coming out of the top of my tower, which then spread out, so... If only real life worked like that. If a meteorite hit my base, it would hit the tower and not the base.
Yeah, so you were fine. But then my base was super... Well, it's funny because that mod I was telling you about where you could turn trees golden. I was working on that mod. And I was deep underground in my base. And I had this long staircase where you'd open a door and you'd go in the base and then you'd work on it. And one day, you said, Cameron, you need to come outside. I was like, what? And so I opened the door and I opened out... Because I opened a door onto this giant staircase where I have to climb up to the surface. So I opened the door out of my base and I can see the sky.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah, your base became a lot faster to get into.
Because suddenly, my base was on the ground floor. My door opened out onto the floor.
Yeah, where we ended, you were playing a lot with Botania, and you were like blowing things around with fans to produce mana and do all these crazy things.
I was also making, on that Wizards one, where you had the Witch's Hut and I had the underground base, I actually was making mods at that point too. I was making like that Ender Pearl mod, because we didn't have any way to get Ender Pearls for some reason. I don't remember what the problem was. I think it was the Mo creatures just
Yeah.
There was too many different kinds of creature.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no, the fan one that I was blowing around, that was the one after. That was the one where you had the floating island. I put them on your floating island.
So that was after Wizard's Return?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was really...
Oh, yeah, that one was with Mithril Armor. Wizard Return down to Mithril Armor is the one afterwards.
Well, it was the equivalent exchange we did afterwards.
Yeah.
In your floating sky base
Yeah.
and whatnot. Yeah. I still have the save and the mods I could show you. Like, it's...
Yeah, that Mithril gear was actually absurd.
The...
Like, that's the OG overpowered mod.
And that one where you had the tree growing through your base and it was floating up there.
Yeah.
That was the one where I did the dance where I said, I'm a pretty pink...
Yeah.
That's Tinker's Construct, I believe, that adds that sort of maybe?
Yeah, which...
And Ars Magica was... Because you were doing a lot of Bloodcraft in the in the one before that.
Yeah.
And Ars Magica we both did in one of them.
Yeah, we did Ars Magica and we kept leveling up the Digging Earth, but Ars Magica was so difficult then.
Yeah. And the one after that, the island one, that was the one where we used a lot of that simple engineering mod, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And that was actually a Better Than Wolves playthrough that you liked. We had like the cars and the highway. And...
Yes, we had the cars on the highway, and my goal was to get a lot of gold and a lot of silver.
Yeah, because you wanted to make this like...
Well, I wanted to make I wanted to make Casa Doom.
Yeah.
I finally made Casa Doom. I don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah.
I made Casa Doom in the one server where it's like I stopped doing Let's Plays and I started doing them a bit. And so it was with Golden Roof and Golden Hall. And so people were playing it and then they stopped and it sort of petered out. But while they were playing it, we were actually making Casa Doom and it looked really cool.
That's neat.
And I made the throne rooms.
I liked...
It had silver floor.
You remember the one we
Golden Roof
did...
and silver floor.
We didn't do it for very long, but we were in a darkwood forest, and I had a base where you'd open a door into a tree, and then you'd go downstairs, and then there's this crystal cavern beneath it. Yeah. And we were like putting crystals from the roof, and we actually did have the silver floor and golden. We did like a little mini Casa Doom with the extra dimension Malthus's doors or whatever those are called. That's a cool mod as well. That's one of those mods, like, it doesn't do much, but it's like it's brilliant. Huh?
One of my favorite things with the Dimension Door mod.
Not the Dimension Door, but Matthias doors, like the ones that opens into a different room.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know, you can have like a single block room, and then you open it, and it's like 10 blocks by 10 blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Dimension Door.
Yeah, one of my favorite things with Dimension Doors is if you are playing with it on a server, and the server can handle it, when someone types in chat, help, how do I get out of here? Because they've fallen into the purgatory.
And then trying to find them.
Well, trying to find them, but also you don't want to die there because you'll lose all your gear.
Yeah.
And the eyes keep staring at them and teleporting them. It's like, how do I get out of here?
Yeah, you have to...
you have to find a door.
Yeah, or die, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a setting which dying doesn't get you out of it. It respawns you inside.
And you just get deeper and deeper and deeper. Yeah. And if those eyes open fully, they also send you deeper, I believe.
Yeah.
That mod is like... It's completely unbalanced, because you can go in there, you can come back with like blocks of diamond and whatnot. But...
Or you can go in there and end up in hell. But it's actual hell. It's not the Nether. The Nether's nice compared to that place.
No, it makes you go insane. Not you in the game. You in real life.
The textures they used were perfect. It is so hideous and jarring to look at, and there's that red eye always. It's awful.
And the traps are cool because they're like vanilla traps. Like, they use all like redstone and everything, but they're like these.
They're clever.
You have to like disable them, and if you hit the wrong thing, it'll go off anyways.
And if the trap breaks, you fall into the void.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, I'm falling void. I'm going to die. No, you're getting a face worse than death.
You wish you would die.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to get around. If you can trace out a route, it's a fast travel mod.
Yeah.
Technically. It's technically a fast travel mod.
And then Unstable Rift opens and starts expanding. And
oh yeah, I forgot I could do that.
You have to go in creative mode and contain the rift because it will break your game.
That's a mod that does not work in most mod packs. Volt? Voltcraft? The one with the nukes and everything?
Volts.
Where the nukes are like the weak weapon?
Yeah, the black hole bomb.
It just gets worse and worse and worse.
You can get rid of the black hole with a red matter bomb.
Yeah, that mod is crazy. But something about the original Tekkit, it was very simple. It had like 4 mods.
Yes, the original Volts mod pack was also very good.
But it just had... It wasn't too much, and it's a different experience. Like, and I think that's the same with like a lot of games, or just owning... And that's, like, again, I was saying, even owning too many games. When you have like 5 games, you've got like Tears to the... you've got Link to the Past, you've got Here's My Magic, and you've got... I don't know, let's say Minecraft. And you're like, what am I going to do? And you're like, oh yeah, each one of these is this mystery to explore. But for some reason, when you have more games, they almost become less impactful each. So this is the takeaway, I guess, is CRPG comes out. You're like, oh, this looks really cool. I love CRPGs. And oh, it's based on Baldur's Gate. I love Baldur's Gate. It's like, yeah, but you have Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
You don't... Now, maybe this is the one for you. Maybe it's a little bit better. Awesome, go for it.
Yeah.
Maybe you're really bored of Baldur's Gate. You want another thing just like it. Go for it. But if you're like, oh yeah, I like CRPGs, so I should play the CRPG. There's too much out there.
Yeah. So, Black Myth Wukong.
Yeah.
It did amazingly well. They had some pretty clever marketing. It was also in the Chinese market, super popular there. Both of us were following that game for quite a while.
Yeah.
And sort of like playing it now, I'm on the final secret boss and the final boss. I can't beat either of them.
Yeah.
I looked up a guide how to beat the secret boss, so I'm going to do that eventually. Which is basically a way to cheese him.
Yeah.
And I'm perfectly fine cheesing Dark Souls-like bosses. But the game has a lot of Dark Souls stuff going on in it, and it's kind of like a worse version of Dark Souls or Elden Ring.
Yeah.
The thing that I love about it so much is it's based off Journey to the West, and that's one of my favorite stories, like favorite aesthetics. I really like the Monkey King and all his magic gears and the characters in that world, even though I can't remember the names. It's cool. And also, you wander around, and you know in those like kung fu action movies based in China, where they have these ridiculous buildings or ruins or whatever.
Yeah.
And so you're walking along, and there's just like this mountainside that's being carved into Buddha statues, and they're like layer upon layer. And you're just looking at that, and it's so cool. And there's a part in the game where you go into this temple, and there's this giant wall. And it's like one of those scenes, it's like a layered sort of pagoda scene. There's all these little models and stuff. And they're all really detailed. And there's a Buddha in there. And he grabs you, and then perspective shifts, and his size stays the same, but you shrink in his hand, sort of. Like, it's just... He changes, I guess, versus the world. So he picks you up by the scruff of your neck, and he puts you down into the model. And then you have to fight your way through all his models to get to this room. And then you break through the room, and he's still huge. But the perspective's just like all warped, messing with your brain, and then you have to fight him. And it's just like these sort of gorgeous Asian mythology settings that are just really
so
pretty.
that's one of those games for you, probably.
Yeah.
Where it's a good card, you add it to your deck, it makes your deck better.
Yes.
For me, I add it to my deck. It's a good... I think I would enjoy the game, but it probably makes my deck worse. Because
Yes.
it's not quite my style.
Yeah,
And also...
there are better games in it.
For me, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also...
No, I'm even saying, like, objectively, like, there are, like, the Dark Souls games are better games.
Because if I could only have, let's say, 5 games,
Yeah.
I think I could pretty easily make that list. And it wouldn't... Black Myth wouldn't be on that
No,
list, right?
it wouldn't be on mine either.
It'd be Heroes of Might and Magic. It'd be Age of Wonders. It would be Heroes of Might and Magic. So it'd be Heroes of Might and Magic 2 and 3. And it would be Age of Wonders 3. And it would be... This is where it gets tricky. Because... Well, it's because there's my favorite games. But then there's games that... I've already played them, right? Like, so like Minecraft would be on my 5 games.
Yeah.
And the 5th one would be... Ooh. I kind of want to say like NetHack or Rogue, but yeah, maybe. They're the games where you just pick them up and you play them. Because this isn't my list of favorite games, actually, really. But it's a list of games that I can just play forever.
Yeah. No, mine...
Like, these are the games, you're a little kid and you're like, oh boy, I get to play a game. What am I going to play? And this is on that list, right?
Yeah, mine would be Age of Empires 2, Minecraft.
Yeah, that's another one. Age of Empires 2 is probably on my top 10, if not top 5.
Yeah, so Age of Empires 2, Minecraft, Battle Brothers.
That's a good one, yeah.
Probably Heroes 3, and then probably RimWorld.
RimWorld was definitely in the contention for me as well, yeah. The problem with RimWorld, if RimWorld could run on any computer in existence, I would play that game more than any other game.
Yeah.
As it is, I've still played it more than most games.
Yeah.
But it runs so poorly on every computer.
That being said, I might, instead of RimWorld, go with Age of Wonders 3.
The Age of Wonders 3, I'm trying to avoid looking at them. You know, back when I was modding, my mod was one of the biggest. The Empire mod was the other biggest one. And then there was a Shadow Demon expansion getting worked on.
Yeah.
There is now like 3 or 4 mods equivalent to the Shadow Demon expansion. And there's also a ton more dwelling mods. And I can't look at the mod workshop because I am recording me playing the campaign. And I can't add in new mods. And I'm just like... I want to play there so bad, but I have to just...
Legendary is still one of the top mods, if you go to the all-time.
Oh, the Legendary Units one.
Yeah.
That mod's a lot simpler, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's some mods that are, like... They add, like, 3 new races and...
Yeah, but if you go to the top mods, Legendary is still up there.
Did I ever tell you I made a race mod?
Archon's Return.
Archon's Return adds like a dwelling, right?
Yeah.
No, I actually made like a full-blown race mod, like the humans,
Oh.
the orcs. I haven't released it. It's just in my private mod workshop.
Huh.
And I didn't tell anyone I ever made it. But I made it, and it is the Archons again.
Yeah.
But what they do, they're called the Masters of Creation. So what you do is their units are weaker than normal units,
Yeah.
but you can press a button on them, and they will change their attack type to whatever elemental type you want.
Mm.
So you're like, oh, I'm fighting fire elementals, I'm going to change to ice type. And so then you have ice type attacks. And it's a lot of work to make a race mod. The models are terrible because I just use Tigran models.
Yeah.
Because, that's not me. But
You could have contacted Glow-Eye.
could have gotten Glow-Eye to do it or someone. Yeah. No. I'm going to, in a video, eventually show it off.
Yeah.
But I think I actually secretly added it into my playthrough, but I don't... In the campaign, there's not many situations where a new race will appear.
Yeah.
But occasionally there might be a wandering monster that is from my mod. But Age of Wonders modding is amazing, and the game is amazing, and I was also considering in my 5 adding Age of Wonders 1, because that game...
Yeah.
Age of Wonders 3 is kind of you get too many mods and it's too perfected. Age of Wonders 1 has all this beautiful imperfections, but it doesn't have the same modding support in the slightest.
I might consider Dominions.
I don't think I would, because I hate Dominions. I like Dominions a lot, but it's also...
That's why I said I might consider Dominions.
It's a game you could play a lot of, but it's kind of like... I don't know if you remember Magic Carpet when we were growing up.
No.
It's like... Okay, so it was a game I would occasionally play. But it was one of those games where it's like, oh yeah, this is the interesting, different game that's over there that I'll play occasionally. Yeah. But it's so weird and difficult. I'm not going to... Like, it was made, I believe, by the guy who wrote that book on game design I gave you, actually. But it's an old game, but it was one of the first 3D games.
Dominions is a hipster game you play to feel cool.
Yeah, that's kind of...
But you're doing it versus yourself. Like, which is kind of demented.
Well, like, imagine... this is sort of my tester now. Like, imagine you're 12, right?
Yeah.
And you've got 5 games. And you just love these... You play them all the time. Like, Heroes of Might and Magic. That was us when we were kids, right? We'd play endless Heroes of Might and Magic. When I was a teenager, when you were 12-ish, I guess, we played a lot of Minecraft.
And Dungeon Lords.
And Dungeon Lords, yeah. So those are a bit later on, but we played a lot of those as well. So that's the sort of game I'm thinking of right now.
Yeah.
If we had Dominions when we were 12, I'd put in the same realm as, like, what was the game called? Warriors of the... like the one with the giant Archangel...
Warrior Kings.
Warrior Kings. Archangel... I'd put it in that sort of category where you're like, oh yeah, I have this weird game that has a lot of depth, but I'm not actually going to play it because it's Dominions, and...
It's kind of like playing Heroes 5, but only playing it for the custom battle.
Yeah. And I can't decide if Dominions would get better if I understood it more or worse. It's such a weird game. I love that it exists. I love playing it too, but
yeah, it's like if you had just the 5 games, see, that's the thing. That's actually one of the things with
I think Age of Wonders is kind of just
why Age of Wonders 3
is in every way.
What attracted me is I might mod, then actually be inspired to mod Age 3 if that's like all I had to focus on.
Yeah, and it's not hard to mod. It's an easy game to mod.
Because I never got around to modding it. You helped me make like that one mod, and that's all I did.
Which one did you? I know Jonas did the Baby Dragons mod.
We added the Screaming Tunnel Runner.
Oh right,
the Kerrog.
That's what happened.
Oh, do you have Kerrogs in your game? Because that's
I don't, and I was confused because I got my Kobold to gold level.
Yeah.
And I was like, why isn't he evolving into a Kerrog? I'm so confused because I could swear I made a mod where they evolve into Kerrogs.
Yeah.
And because I'm playing with only my mods, right?
Yeah.
So I was like only the mods that are in my workshop.
Yeah.
And I think yours is in your workshop, probably.
No, I don't have that work. It was on yours. It's just we never released it. That was a local. So it's only in your, it's in your hidden workshop.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what's going on. But I was like, I could swear I made this mod, and I don't see it anywhere. So I had to remake it. So I have now added to my wrong kind of balanced character.
Is it an ogre with a bone mask? That's what the model is.
No, I did a giant kobold with a big cleaver thing. Yeah. And I haven't gotten one yet because it's really hard to get a kobold.
Yeah.
And then you have to get it to gold, which is also hard because they're kind of squishy.
Yeah.
But that's why I couldn't find... I was like, I could swear I added one to the game. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, I don't know if you did this in your remod, but we added a feature to it, which is, the gold level up?
Yeah.
Where you get permanent level ups? its gold level up is it permanently got +5 movement and +1 damage.
I did not do that.
So it gets the +10 health, but also got +5 movement and
So it just
+1
goes
damage
faster
each
and
level
faster
up.
and faster.
It doesn't get new action points.
Yeah.
But we gave it a special ability, which was it could attack more than normal because there's like a limited amount of action point pools.
Yeah.
But we gave it at gold level. It was given an extra attack, which was a free action, so it could attack more.
Oh, I see. So you use the free action and then you do the normal attack.
Yeah.
Right. Because I was thinking, I don't think you can change an attack to have like 4 or 5 strings.
No,
but,
no, you can't. But what?
But we just did it with a free attack.
Yeah.
No, I've actually really improved my one kind of balance mod since I started recording myself playing with it.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing a full playthrough, right? And so I'm like, oh, I would like to change this. So, for instance, I don't know if you've watched my Age of Wonders videos.
No.
They're really good. But I made it so now...
I watched the Heroes of Might and Magic and the Pokemon, and that's it.
So the assassins, now instead of having that... I gave them that mischief managed so they could teleport away. But it was weird because what the AI would do, and me would do, was teleport into combat, stab the guy, and then walk through the wall. So I changed it so that you have to stab the guy before the ability even appears. So you give yourself the ability by killing someone, basically. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. And then I have this problem with both trebuchets and battering rams.
Yeah.
I never build them, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you ever build them? They're like...
I build trebuchets and I leave them in my castle.
Yeah, they're decent on defense.
Because they're really good at defense.
But
I never touch the battering ram.
Yeah, I never touch these. So what I did was I made it, if you stand next to a battering ram, it gives you defense. So now it's like a portable shield now.
Yeah.
So wherever it goes, and it gives you defense against range attacks. So as long as you're standing next to a battering ram, you basically can't get hurt by range attacks.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, now I'm used. This is so cool. And then the other thing I did was I made it that so trebuchets could fling units. So now if you need to get over the enemy's walls, you just get in the trebuchet and it flings you over the walls.
But you could do that with Goblin Untouchables, and that's very appropriate for the goblins.
So what I did with goblins is I made it, instead of goblins being able to get flung over walls, I made it you could actually fling them at people. And so you can actually attack people by flinging goblins at them.
So that's so appropriate to the Goblin Untouchables.
Yeah. So I made it goblins do like a 5 times damage attack, and then they die if they get flung by a trebuchet at someone.
Yeah.
And I actually I messed up at first so that trebuchets could fling trebuchets, and also trebuchets could fling anyone that was standing next to them. So they didn't have to get loaded into the trebuchet. You just had to stand near a trebuchet, and you could launch yourself. So you could launch like 10 people a turn with a single trebuchet. And so I had to add a new unit to the game, which was Trebuchet Armada. So now it's like a bunch of trebuchets in a single square, and then they can do that. They can fling like unlimited units. But I think it's way more fun now. It's like, woohoo! It's so... The first time I used it properly in the game, one of my assassins had almost died, and he was behind the enemy walls. So I sent my priest to the trebuchet and flung him at my assassin so that he could heal the assassin. And then there's one of my thumbnails is I flung a city guard. You know how they have nets? Because I needed to disable the opponent's, I think it was one of their orc priests.
Yeah.
So I needed to disable him. So I flung the city guard at him, and then the city guard flung his net at him. And so my thumbnail is him flying through the air and flinging a net at him as he flies. And that's just one of the changes I've made. Yeah. I've fixed a lot of the text because all the text was broken, and I've actually started making icons for everything rather than just using the same icon. That's a great game because it's so easy to mod, and the mods can add so much depth and variety to it.
Yeah, I should look at number 4 again.
And Heroes of Might and Magic, that's part of the reason as well, is so easy to mod, and people have made amazing mods for it. Like, there's Horn of the Abyss, and there's the Day of Reckoning, which is going to come out, which is also like on the tier of Horn of the Abyss. It looks like it'll be. Those are amazing. But then there's stuff like Segamosa, where it's like suddenly you're playing a different game.
Or Phoenix.
Oh yeah, where you have you buy the points and you have the weird armies.
Help! It's all in Chinese.
You're suddenly playing Total War. Yeah, like the Phoenix or the Red Dragon mod.
Yeah.
But Segamosa, you can walk through trees and you can use the stars to cast unique spells and.
I was playing with the tier 3 mod.
Oh, where you can upgrade everything in an additional time?
Yeah, third time.
Tides of War, I think it might be called now? Or is that... No, that's a different one.
This was an old install.
Tides of War is alternate upgrades.
Yeah, this was an old install of it. And so I'm going along and playing the game. Then the enemy walks up into my base, takes my base over, and it's like, oh, where'd you come from? This was unexpected. So I had my main army walk back to my base, and none of their stuff was upgraded to tier 3.
Yeah.
And all my stuff was. And the the third upgrade doesn't actually make them too overpowered. It's just kind of weird.
They go up to 4 for everything now. And I think he's...
Do their models actually look good?
Yeah, no, he's really
Because
improved it.
they're hideous.
No, he's really improved the models. They all go up to a 4th upgrade, I believe. Or it might be only the tier 7s go up to a 4th upgrade.
Yeah.
And then he's also, I think, because it used to be... Well, originally, you could just upgrade them in your city if you had the upgraded place. But then he changed it so you had to click on your capital and then you could spend a ridiculous amount of resources. But I think now you can actually upgrade the individual buildings.
Yeah, so you know the map where there's a river dividing it.
Yeah.
And it's a 4-player map.
Yeah, that's...
and you have the treasure in the corner.
That map is the first map in the list.
Yeah.
And I forget its name. It's called Avengers or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's me wanting to see all the different tier 4 upgrades. So I can't remember which one I picked. But anyway, so I picked that one. First AI I come across, same nation as me.
Aggression, anyways, yeah.
So same nation as me.
Yeah.
That's kind of disappointing. So I wiped them out. Second AI I come across, same nation as me. So I wiped them out. Third one was... No, that's not what happened. It wasn't they're the same as me. I was playing the undead.
Yeah.
And they have a bunch of cool effects for their tier 3 units. They have really cool effects. The first enemy encountered was an elementalist. All their units are immune to the special effects of the undead. And the second enemy was also an elementalist. And so I didn't get to play with any of the cool powers. And they had basically wiped out the 4th player, so he had like 1 castle left because you get 2 castles per zone, and most are speed. So what I ended up doing is I defeated all the AI, but the one guy who was an elementalist. And then I camped my main hero right in front of his base, and I passed 3 months so he could have an army. And then I attacked his castle because I wanted to use my abilities.
I just want to feel something.
I wanted to have the blood dragons and the Nosferatus get their special abilities off.
Yeah, I've only played Tum on 3rd upgrade mod, it's called. Tum for those in the business. No, I've only played that on 1 map, which was Realm of Chaos, which is that map of North America.
Yeah.
So it's got like Mexico and Canada and the United States. And it was surprisingly well balanced. Like, it doesn't get out of hand. Like,
yeah, no, you'd think they would because they're looks, but they're actually pretty balanced units.
And the 4th upgrades back then were interesting because you couldn't get them in the town. You had to find them in the wilderness, and then you could get like a Supreme Archangel. No, Seraph. So it goes Angel, Archangel, Supreme Archangel, Seraph. Yeah. And then you could find like 1 Seraph out in the wilderness, and it would be super hard to get. And then you could get him, and he was super strong. And yeah, it was a cool mod. But I haven't played Era in a long time though. I've just been playing a lot of Shadow of Death actually, which is funny. Like no mods whatsoever. But I've just been doing all the campaigns.